Hi YouTube, it's Glenn here from Monster Guitars, and today I'm asking the question, can relatively inexpensive router bits from China compete with the good stuff? Let's find out. So, I recently did an unboxing video for a Radian router bit, which I used to route a profile on the edge of this very hard purple heart top, and I was quite impressed. It did a good job, and I would buy from them again, although not too often. You know, they're expensive, so they're a bit of a treat. But good router bits generally are expensive. I mentioned Whiteside during that last bit. Last video. I've looked up some really nice looking bits, really nice looking trim router bits from Whiteside in the US. And they're just expensive. So what I like to do, because I'm cheap, no, I'm not cheap, but I like a bargain. I don't like to spend lots of money if it can be helped. And I bet lots of you are the same if you're starting out in guitar luthiering. What I like to do is browse eBay. You can hear the jingle of my cat as he goes wandering through the workshop. I'm just going to let her out the door. I'm back. What I like to do is go browsing eBay to see if I can get any good deals on tools that look like they could do the same job but at a lower price, usually from Hong Kong, or just somewhere in China. And I have some success. I get a lot of my router bits from there, just ordinary things like this. This is a bottom cleaning bit. That sounds a bit gross, doesn't it? Cleaning the bottom of a channel, similar to a trim router bit, a pattern bit. I get lots of small things like that, or some hand tools. I've got a couple of nice rasps from there, just miscellaneous bits and pieces. But router bits, I'm just very aware that quality router bits are difficult to find that way. So I was intrigued to see this. This is, as you can see, a roundover bit, and it immediately looks different from a lot of the stuff that I buy from Chinese sellers. It looks high-end. Now, it needs to be said, it is more expensive than, say, something like that. It is more expensive than a lot of the bits I buy from China. But it's much cheaper than the high-quality bits that you get from the US or the UK. It doesn't have a brand name that I was able to discern. A roundover bit with 4 flutes. It's a decent size. It's got a good weight to it. And I thought, that looks like a pretty good quality bit. Now, first things first, and I think this is largely a product of the language barrier that exists between many sellers in China and me. Their English is often not very good, and my Mandarin is non-existent. I can't speak any, so hats off to them. But I think that results in some issues. So, for example, this was available in a number of sizes, and I said that I wanted the 1/2-inch bit. And when I opened it up, it looked like a 1/2-inch bit, but there's my 1/2-inch collet, and it's pretty loose. It turns out that it's actually not 1/2 inch, which is 12.7 millimeters. It is 12 millimeters. They'd given me the wrong one. That just happened. And as an illustration, of the nature of the problem more broadly with Chinese sellers, not at all that again, I stress, not at all that they're swindlers or anything like that. I really do think it's just a language thing. There was a picture of this rebate cutter or rabbit cutter showing it with 3 flutes, whereas this only has 2. No, actually it was 4 flutes like that. And I don't doubt that they have one with 4 flutes, but it may be for a smaller sized shank or a larger sized shank. The information was not presented clearly. And I don't know that they understood all the information that was in their listing because it was in English. that's the impression I got in my communication with them anyway. So look, you do, in you know, to a degree, you're taking a bit of a gamble, but all the sellers that I've been involved with so far have been really good at putting things right. For example, they just outright refunded me for that, so I got that for nothing. You know, it's a pretty average looking rebate cutter. I may use it at some point. And I explained to them what had happened with this one, and the cost of shipping it back to them was a lot more than the cost of them shipping it to me. So in the end, we came to an arrangement where I purchased a 12mm collet to go in this router, and they refunded me half of the price of that, and I was happy with that, because if I ever have a 12 mil bit again, now I'll be able to use it. So, you know, got there in the end, but I'm just saying, it's not just a matter of getting cheap goods. There are some hassles that you have to put up with as well, with Chinese sellers on eBay. That's life. So, now that we've got through that preamble, all right, now, one of the downsides of me having a 12mm bit is that it won't go into my router table. So I will always have to use this router with it, and that's potentially, well, I mean, it's doable, I think. But one of the reasons I put the guitar onto the router table when doing the carve on the top is that it might have gotten a bit precarious with the router perched on the horn, so I'll just have to be really careful with it. Yep, that's really the only solution I have. So I know you can get some router tables that will take a Triton router, and so that would have been a solution, but I don't have that set up available to me. I could do it, but I would have to buy stuff. And I've got Scottish genes. My mother's family descends from Scotland, and my father's family descends from Ireland. Not exclusively, but largely. That's partly why I wear a kilt sometimes, but it's possibly why I'm a bit tight with money sometimes too. No, it's not really, I don't believe that. But okay, so what do I need to do? Don't really need to do anything. I'm just going to clamp this down and get routing. However, it is after 10 at night, and it feels a bit unneighbourly to be doing that kind of thing in the middle of the night. So tomorrow I will pick up where I'm leaving off now. I have to say, it feels very good. Especially, and this was the same with the more expensive Triton, not Triton, the router is Triton, the more expensive Radian, but when going along the grain, it is very smooth, like it's been scraped smooth. A tiny bit of roughness as you go across the grain, but otherwise, look, this is really nice, much nicer than some 2-flute router bits that I have. Right, that will barely require any sanding. I may go a little bit deeper, but that's looking really good. Right, I think that's as deep as I'll go. That's deep enough. I'll just do a small amount of, whoops, accidentally zoomed you right in there. I'll do a small amount of sanding around the edge, but that's okay. So that is as good as I would have expected from a much more expensive 4-flute router bit. And that's kind of what I expected, because you know, I have this idea, this crazy idea, that it really has nothing to do with the brand name. It's just about whether or not the physical object is properly suited for the job. And that just is. I mean, look, minimal sanding will be required there. Now, okay, so the thing is, I sort of bought this, whoops, I need to master the focus on my phone a little better. I bought this thinking, okay, will this be a Triton killer? And the thing is, it won't really, because generally speaking, you cannot get the physical equivalent of what Triton makes. This is the only 4-flute roundover bit that I could find other than Triton. And all the other bits that Triton make that have 3 or 4 flutes, I just couldn't find the equivalent. So, you know, there aren't many things like this. But when you can find them, I guess the message is the brand doesn't really matter that much. It's like guitars and amplifiers, really. You know, you can spend a lot of money on a big name brand. I went into a music store once and I was looking at amplifiers and I tried out a couple, and this guy said to me, "Oh, try this one here, it's a fair bit cheaper." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, it's just as good, but the brand name of the speaker is not Celestion, so it doesn't cost as much." This is a similar situation. I would recommend this. I gave you the screenshot so you can look at the exact name of the thing and go and look it up on eBay and buy one of these. But yeah, I mean, you can't really ask for more than that, can you?